Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, dedicated participants, and respected judges, a very warm welcome to the virtual Ideathon Volunteering for Sustainability, a hackathon supporting local and international efforts to protect our natural world. Over the course of the next few hours, each participating team will present the ideas they have so diligently worked on under the sub-theme of Volunteering for Youth Education and Skills. For the challenge, how can volunteering build skills for the green economy that are internationally recognized? Let's take this opportunity to thank the judging committee members who will use their expertise to assess teams' efforts and process fairly based on international judging criteria. Allow me to introduce our judges for this sub-theme. They are Her Excellency Engineer Uthayba Saeed Al-Qiyadi from the UAE Ministry of Climate Change and Environment. Dr. Tapiwa Kumoroko from the United Nations Volunteer Program, and Lela Violet Haloum, a digital change maker and Power of Youth champion. I would like to now share with you the participating teams who have worked tirelessly for the past 24 hours on solutions to the challenge. They are Dividendo Voluntaria para la Comunidad AC from Venezuela, Global Peace Foundation from Nepal, Ingeniería Sin Fronteras from Chile, Serve Global from Ethiopia, and Yes Empowerment Services from Uganda. We will now begin the pitch rounds. Each team will have 5 minutes to pitch their idea, followed by a 10-minute question and answer session with the judging panel. So, let's get started with the Dividendo Voluntario para la Comunidad AC team. Please go ahead and share your slides. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you. What would happen if our culture were to be blurred? Let us introduce you to El Páramo de Mérida. Here we work with two wonderful communities called Gavidia and Mucuchíes. These communities are farming communities that specialize in potato and garlic through agroecological practices that are massively innovative in the country. However, these practices, these regenerative sustainable practices, also have worked with another ancestral practice that has lived in Venezuela for 300 years, and that is raw wool weaving. The 7 women in Gavidia and Mucuchíes who practice raw wool weaving are the only ones defending this ancestral practice in the country. And if they don't have the capacity to interest the youth through volunteering in this project, it will completely disappear. Welcome to our project, Threads of Tradition. Through this project, we wish for the Weaving Ladies cooperatives of Gavidia and Mucuchíes to become an actor for sustainable development in the community, so young volunteers can participate with innovative entrepreneurial practices after their capacitation. We have worked as a team that have gathered from partnerships toward communication practices because we're truly committed for this project and to these communities. We want to directly reply to our challenge. The way that volunteering can have skills for a green economy that are internationally recognized is by preserving cultural identity, by providing innovation skill educations that are technological, professional, and internationally recognized and certified through digital platforms, and to incentivize the youth to perceive volunteering as a valuable experience towards professionalism. We want to quote Dr. Chris Melora from our first workshop: volunteering should be engaging, feasible, well-documented, and recognized by the private and academic sector. We have 4 short-term objectives that compile promo campaigns for young volunteers to apply so they can receive certified capacitations for entrepreneurship alongside the Weaving Ladies, And both of them participate in a green sustainable value chain that is enhanced through mentorship by corporate and academic volunteers. Eventually, this project should become an aspirational profession in Mérida, and this practice a feasible entrepreneurship that creates an independent value chain and that has insight on how to express volunteer skills as professional abilities. Some of our collaborators include financial institutions such as Bancaribe, who will provide not only entrepreneurship training, but also a reintroduction to banking and financial opportunities. KPMG, so this community becomes aware of the global importance of the practices that they already have through the ancestry that they have inherited, as well as a digital platform called Skills Build by IBM that will actually close the gap between the technology that is managed by other urban communities and these rural communities. And as well, the UCAB that through their fashion design school can give the community a newfound understanding of fashion practices and sustainable practices and product quality. The idea is for the community and the DVC, which is already connected through our programs in these two communities that are for food security and livelihood, and young volunteers can collaborate with the Weaving Ladies. So it not only generates interest and entrepreneurship, but also we as a country do not lose such an ancestral 300-year-old tradition. The project will have 4 phases that go from preparation towards the commercialization of products, each of them measured by relevant KPIs that as well can generate a long-term monitoring plan. This monitoring plan and these 2 KPIs are called the employability of volunteers. So effectively that these volunteers have certified skills gathered from the digital platforms, as well as a green book that will teach and will make a case study of this project for sustainable green practices. Our budget is distributed in the following manner. You can tell that the 2 places that they have the most percentage are the financial support for the entrepreneurship and the laptops that we will give the community so they can begin their training for certified platforms of entrepreneurial skills. And our strategy or outreach strategy has one key word, one key slogan, that is that together we weave the future while honoring the past. Our target are local communities, young apprentices, and final consumers. It is important to understand that for us, defending the past is something that should not sacrifice the future. And as well, we want to say that this project is connected to what the DVC has done for the last 60 years. That is, together we can do and be more. Thank you so much.
Thank you, team, for that very interesting pitch. We will now move on to the judges for any Q&A.
I'm happy to ask a question. Hi, Camilla. Thank you for your presentation. The question I'd like to ask is around outreach. So you mentioned working with young people to help maintain tradition and community in this practice that's existed for the last 60 years. And you also really clearly identify the key partners you plan to work with from industry. How do you plan to recruit the young people to get involved in your work?
Thank you so much for that question. Well, as an organization, we already work with the young people within the communities. We work with the National System of Orchestra, or the National Musical System, and they already have a center that has internet that we provided. So we already connect with the volunteers. What we need to do now is for them to become interested on the ancestral practice that we wish for them to understand. That's why we created an entrepreneurship project that already takes advantage of what we have developed in the community. And now the outreach program is actually for them to become interested. So we will partner not only with the collaborators that you see here, but also with the partners we already have, such as the National Musical System, so they can kind of enhance the tradition. So inherently, we are already connected to the youth of the community. We just need to make them interested on the project. Thank you for the question, by the way.
May I come in? Thanks, Camila. This is a great proposal. Please tell us what elements of the project design will make it a success, especially for scaling up and replication, for impact.
Thank you so much for that question. That's one of the most important points. Basically, the key is on the part of the value chain. At the beginning of the project, we wish to be involved in the value chain, basically by providing transport so we can bring the products to Caracas, which is the capital and the biggest market in the country. However, through that process, that first year of the process, after we have become a part of that value chain at the last part by being a distributor, we want to capacitate the community in order for them to connect to Caracas digitally and technologically, so they can start selling the products and we can become increasingly less part of the value chain. By creating an independent value chain with the community, they will be able to kind of, through this capacitation, create an entrepreneurship project that is sustainable long term. This has already worked. We have already done this with the farming communities and the potato farmers on their area. And they are already providers for some of the biggest companies here in Caracas, such as PepsiCo, for example. So we understand that that is possible. We just want to take that has taken around 4 years. So that's kind of like the long-term vision that we have for the project as well. And that's the way that we did it. So we were going to apply that same funnel that has been successful for us towards this project. Thank you.
Judges, do we have any other further questions?
I have one more around measuring your impacts. How do you plan to really measure what it is you're doing?
Okay, thank you so much for that. Also very important. Well, on the proposal, we have already given around I believe there are around 25 KPIs for each of the phases. The way that we measure impact is by understanding what is that we are bringing to the community. So our measuring plan includes not only, well, the team in which we will actually go to a community. We go to a community every 2 weeks to measure the impact through the instruments that we have already created, but also that we are able to take corporate volunteers from our partners and our collaborators that we already explained, so they can help us see through their own skill and expertise, measuring the impact that they have on their own social programs, through that expertise, so we can like measure the impact together through the instruments they have and the instruments we have. The most important part of our impact measurement plan is that we already have other projects in the community that make us go to the community every 2 weeks, and we have already connected to the people and the population of the community. So we already know kind of the way and the instruments that we might use. So we need to, well, create the instruments to measure it, but also take advantage of the instruments that our collaborators have already created to measure the impact that they do on other social projects. And what we're going to do is to bring these instruments to the community anytime that we go there, and we can keep on measuring the impact. And that guarantees is that we're going to measure impact not only, that we are actually able to measure impact, because we have been working there for several years and we plan to work there for several years more.
Thank you. Her Excellency Artheba, do you have any other further questions you'd like to add?
Camelia, I have 2 questions. The first one regarding the budget of the project. Can you please tell me the breakdown of the budget, if you have it?
Yeah, of course.
And sorry, just the second question regarding innovation.
Okay, thank you so much for that question, Your Excellency. We do have the breakdown of the budget. It is mainly the most of the budget, around, as you can see here, 65% is going to go directly to a community, either through laptops or through financial support for the initial cost of creating an entrepreneurship project. All of the others are connected either to internet provision, licensing softwares, and economic incentives for supervisor professors. While the volunteers will be young and they will be volunteers, we do believe that it's necessary to have a coordinator or a professor from the current schools that we work with that oversees that these volunteers actually do the digital courses that we will provide them and certify them with. So that's basically and this called volunteering incentives is more the kind of like a small budget in order for us to give them recognitions or awards.
Is it yearly? Sorry,
Yeah.
This budget is yearly or monthly?
No, this is yearly. This is the entire project.
Okay. And for incentives, $1,800?
Yeah, because that volunteering incentive in itself is only to provide things such as, because volunteers are volunteers are offering for free. This is only to provide kind of like recognitions for the volunteer of the year, kind of like awards, or to create an event for them to kind of gather together. It's not necessarily because we're gonna pay them directly, because they are volunteers. So that's why, I mean, that's the way that we have broken down like these incentives. And I don't know if you have any further questions with the budget, or do I proceed to your second question?
Thank you with that. Can you please let me know more about the innovation in your project?
Yeah, for sure. Well, basically the way that we want to develop the project is through digital platforms, such as, for example, IBM Skillville. These digital platforms have never been used by the volunteers in the community, but we know that they have the capacity to use them. So what we want to do, or the innovating part, is that we're going to bring courses such as sustainable green practices, design thinking, management of mega data. We're gonna bring these programming, we're gonna bring these technological digital platforms towards the community so they can close the technological gap. And through those innovative like platforms, which are innovative for the community, they're gonna be able to kind of connect. Yeah, sorry, someone is speaking. Thank you. They're going to be able to connect these technological advances towards the technological advances that they already have that are focused on agriculture. The technological advances that they have focused on agriculture, for example, in terms of weaving, is that they do insemination of the sheep, and they have modified genetically the sheep in a completely sustainable manner and natural manner, so they can produce more wool, and that wool can be utilized for weaving, so nothing is wasted. So it's kind of part of the circular economy of the community. So we're gonna grab those already 20-year-old agroecological innovations towards technical innovations that can kind of match together alongside them and create an entrepreneurship.
Thank you, dear.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Your Excellency.
We have a little under 1 minute. If the judges, I think we don't have time because we have only 45 seconds left. Thank you so much for that very insightful pitch. Can we please have Global Peace Foundation showcase their slides? You have 5 minutes.
Hi, good evening. Thank you very much. Imagine a world where every individual is empowered to unleash their full potential and make a meaningful difference in their communities. Just last month, one of our volunteers expressed her heartfelt gratitude to us for giving her the opportunity to serve others, a transformative journey where learning, engagement, and impactful service come together to create lasting change. As a student of environmental science, this is her first learning experience where she truly began to thrive. As she discovered the power of practical service learning, she felt a great, sorry, I have to switch on my video. Sorry, I forgot about that. Sorry. Yeah, as she actually felt a great sense of purpose, not for others, not only for herself and for others as well, but for herself as well, while undergoing a meaningful personal and professional development transformation. Because of volunteering, she has expanded her network and skills for career advancement. Her story is just one of many we've been privileged to witness, a testament to the profound impact of volunteerism. And this is the mission of Global Peace Foundation Nepal. Our personal mission too. Namaste, respected judges, fellow finalists and friends from Ayave and Emirates Foundation. I, Bambi Panta, along with my team, Mrs. Park, Regent Sitiku, and Monica Kudel, would like to propose to you Project Green Bhavisya. Bhavisya means future in Nepali language. Nepal's brain drain hinders sustainable growth, prompting the need to retain talent and empower youth for green economy initiatives. 40.3% of Nepal's population constitute the youth, and each day, over 2,000 of these youth leave the country for employment, education in overseas. Why? Out of many reasons, mismatched in education and skills, less employment opportunities, and lack of support systems are the crucial ones. As Nepal ranks fourth globally in vulnerability to climate change, it is critical to explore the opportunities to retain talents in Nepal and empower the younger generation to contribute to the country's green economic growth. To solve this challenge, we aim to empower 60 youth volunteers from different educational institutions of Nepal by cultivating 21st century and green technical skills and fostering entrepreneurial mindset while impacting 6,000 individuals through their initiatives. To achieve our goal, we will inculcate the values of living for the greater good as their noblest motivation, dream big, ownership, and teamwork. These will be the foundation of the project and the volunteers to ensure ethical standards and cultivate the necessary skills and mindset. To put our idea into action, we will map out the partners and target audiences in 7 districts of Nepal. So regions of Nepal to ensure inclusion and diversity. We propose capacity building, experiential learning, via community engagement on the first phase, to be followed by entrepreneurship bootcamps and idea pitching, seed grant provision for challenges winners, and the final phase would be documentation of the project impact that will be used to call to action and advocacy. Mentorship will be an integral part of the first 2 phases of the project. To measure our impact, we would use quantitative output indicators, outcome metrics, efficiency and cost effectiveness, feedback mechanism, and stories of change. To amplify our impact, we will strengthen our current partners and map out potential new partners that include government agencies, community-based organizations, sustainable companies, educational institutions with shared values. To attain our goal and objectives, our projected budget is $40,200 with $15,200 as an in-kind and financial contributions from potential partners and our organization. To raise awareness about the volunteering opportunity, generate interest, fundraise, and encourage people to get involved, we will strategically identify our target audience, utilize both offline and online communication channels, develop a compelling value proposition to get potential partners on board, and by creating engaging content. We will integrate technology in our projects through digital applications of volunteering, data analytics, and impact measurement tools such as SurveyMonkey and Google Forms, collaboration tools, video conferencing platforms, and volunteers will also learn about green technology through trainings and excursions in sustainable companies and innovation centers. With the learning outcomes, we plan to continue this project and make it a yearly cohort to increase our impact on youth education and skills for sustainability, utilizing the graduates as peer mentors. Green Bhavisya isn't just a program, it's a mission. Investing in young people to develop their capacity for competencies, we are not just changing their lives. We are creating a ripple effect for a sustainable future. Join us, and together we will work for human and nature transformation. Thank you, and namaste.
Thank you, team, for another insightful pitches. Judges, please ask your questions.
Maybe I want to start. Bambi, thank you very much for a very interesting project, well conceptualized and well presented. Look, I think you agree with me that we've seen so many projects in our lives. Highlight to us here what you think are the critical features of this project that are new, that are different, that are fresh, a fresh approach to the aspects that we are talking about, that will make it successful. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tapikaramurko, for that question. Yeah, so I think the new one here is, I'm not sure if others are doing this, but this is the most important thing for us. We emphasize the values-based approach. So first of all, we want to capacitate them with the mindset, the right skill sets and the mindset of living for the greater good, as service for others, taking that ownership and working in a teamwork. And also, the capacity building together with the entrepreneurship skills as well. So we are building up their capacity from the mindset, from the values, and then to the capacity skills that is necessary for this 21st century world and the modern world, and also the entrepreneurship skills, which is also very important for sustainability and innovation as well. Thank you.
Hi, Bambi. Thank you for your presentation. I'd like to ask, when it comes to the delivery of the program, how do you envisage it to be rolled out? Is that during, say, the school day as part of a student's learning experience, or would this be beyond the classroom?
Yes, my friend is.
Greetings, everyone. I would love to answer that. So we are in partnership with the different educational institutions that we are already working and the interested ones. So they have their particular yearly calendar in line. So and in Nepal, there are so many universities and schools who are interested in inculcating this entrepreneurial mindset, and they already have some clubs already established. So we will be choosing our partners and tapping this place where students will also have space where they can be creative and innovative and think of eco entrepreneurship at the same time.
Judges, any further questions?
While other colleagues are coming in, you said the total project budget is 40,000, and you're asking for 25,000. What happens with the deficit? Do you have it? Do you have plans, or the project will follow this first?
Thank you so much for the question. So, dear judge, this is not something that has been new or we are thinking of it. So we really want to do this project, and because we were also looking forward to the sustainability of the project, and because this is something that we are going to do by the end of the day. So we have been talking with our partners and funding agents who are quite positive to make this happen. And one of the major crucial thing why the budget is a little higher than usual is because we also want to give seed money to the 20 brilliant innovative ideas, so that the training and everything just does not stop there, so that it will also inspire other students. And by the end of the day, we want these ideas and this kind of work to be part of the curriculum and their education system as well. So it is very crucial to build foundation in the initial step. So yes, we are planning forward with funding in that manner. Thank you so much. Did I answer your question, or if there's any follow-up, I would love to answer that as well.
Your
No
Excellency.
question from my side. I don't have any question. Thank you.
Thank you. Tapio and Lela, do you have any last questions before we move on? Right.
I'm okay. I'm fine. Clear enough, and she has responded sufficiently to my questions, and I think we can move.
All right, wonderful. So, team, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Now,
thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you. Now, let's move on to the second team and hear from Ingenieros Sin Fronteras. Please share your slides, and you have 5 minutes.
Dear judges, ideation team, and colleagues, welcome to Chile. Chile is an amazing country, but it is also one of the most vulnerable countries to climate change. In fact, over the past year, we have suffered many natural disasters, such as floods and wildfires, that have destroyed many communities. Yet, in these critical situations, the youth of Chile are rising as volunteers to help communities build back better. I'm Santiago, and together with Camila and Tomás, we are representing Engineers Without Borders in Chile. We are convinced that young volunteers with engineering background can contribute to a green, sustainable local development of communities in a poverty situation. But how can we help these volunteers to build skills for the green economy that are internationally recognized? This is how our project Empowering Young Engineers for Green and Sustainable Development was born. Our aim is to promote the green economy and sustainable local development in vulnerable communities by training 200 volunteers with engineering background within 1 year. This project will have 4 stages. First, we will start connecting these volunteers with the social and environmental problems that we are facing. Then we will guide these volunteers to connect with their personal purpose. And also we will help them to improve soft skills such as communication, teamwork, and leadership. Then from this position of deep connection, they can start co-creating engineering solutions for a green and sustainable development. In this part, they will start collaborating with the communities in engineering projects. They will start the mentorship programs with our partners, and they will be trained in the Engineers Without Borders methodology to co-create solutions with communities. Finally, we will develop a digital platform for replicating this program in the future. Ideation team will be critical for the success of this project, but we will also look for other partnerships with universities, companies, and local government as we do today. They will help us to engage with potential volunteers, to engage with potential mentors. They will fund the project implementation with communities, the engineering project implementation, as they are doing today. To reach our goal of 200 volunteers, we will leverage in different channels to spread the word about our program. For example, we will use webinars, social media, we will go to events, and other. Technology plays a vital role in our program too, not only as a platform for amplifying our reach and impact, but also as a powerful training tool. The project requires $25,000, mainly for platform development, training materials, and event logistics. We have ambitious goals for this project, and it is crucial for us to measure our impact using different indicators. To conclude, we invite you to join us on this journey. We are committed to making a positive change by empowering young engineers for green and sustainable development. Thank you very much.
Thank you, team, for that great pitch. Let's see if the judges have any questions.
I could come in and start the conversation, if it's okay with Leila and Excellency. Thanks, Santiago, for presenting and sharing this very fascinating proposal. Congratulations. Look, I work for a volunteer organization, so please bear with me. I want you to possibly share with us how volunteering will stand out as the best strategy to deliver the project. This is one of the criteria, success criteria for this challenge. How does volunteering stand out as the best strategy to deliver this project? This is my first question. I'll come back later if there's time.
Thank you very much for that question. It's a really good question. I would say that volunteering for us is critical, not only for this project, but for our whole organization. We rely on volunteers because engineering projects are very costly, mostly because of labor costs. Engineering costs are really costly. Then we look for volunteers, young engineers, but also professional expert volunteers that take the role of mentors to develop this project so we can implement them in vulnerable communities and then make real impact towards green and sustainable economy in these communities.
That's fine, but I wanted to hear something about volunteering beyond cost effectiveness, beyond mitigating expenses, but using volunteerism for mobilization and to bring in values of solidarity, of etc. But thank you very much for your response. Over.
Thank you, Judge. And it's really, I agree with what you're saying. We think that we also make positive changes in our partners, such as the engineering companies that are supporting us, the universities. They change the way they think, they change the way they work because of the collaboration with us. So it's very important for us, and it's one of our key indicators as an organization.
Sorry, do you have a case? Can you just elaborate more on that? Like, I mean, did you try it or in any facilities with your stakeholders or no?
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. I will share my screen again so I can show you. We have some cases in our proposal and also here in the pitch, but for the time we were not able to show. Okay. So this is a short example of a project last year. One of the communities that we are working with, it's called El Alfalfal community in the metropolitan region of Chile. They had suffered heavy rains that destroyed the water distribution system they had. So we worked together with universities, an engineering company that is Ausenco, and volunteers from these two organizations, the universities and the companies, and social scientists volunteers too, to work together with the community to build back this distribution system, but in a new system that is more resilient against these natural disasters in the future. So this is a short example. So we have many of these. I can share with you if you are interested. But this is an example of how our projects work. But we think that we have to empower our young volunteers so they are prepared to develop better projects and more projects just as this one.
And what's the innovation in this project?
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. We think that the way we work with engineering projects together with social science, universities, companies, it's an innovation itself. But we also want to include a digital platform that will use AI assistance, training tool, gamification, that will help us to improve the journey of our volunteers, the way they live and enjoy this process of an engineering project as a volunteer.
Thank you. That's it from my side.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Leila, do you have any questions?
No, thank you.
Any final questions from the judges before we close this round? I'm assuming no.
How are we doing with the time? Do we still have time?
Yes, we have 3 minutes and 46 seconds.
I wanted to ask Santiago, because one element is about originality. Sorry, Santiago, to come back to you, because I really like this project. If I tell you something, last evening I was going through all the projects in detail. So we learn every day. If you look right, left, and forward, what can you pick? Can you say this project is the first of its kind? And if not, can you say, okay, there have been several projects of this nature, but 1, 2, 3 elements in its design are very fresh, are original? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Judge. I'm not sure if it's the first of its kind, but we are sure that it's the first of its kind in Chile. Here we have a volunteer culture, but it's really limited to natural disasters. We don't have a constant volunteering work culture, and we are working all the year around with communities. This year we will work with 10 communities in different projects, just as the one I show you. And we need more volunteers that are motivated and they can stay longer in this project. So this platform, this journey that we are preparing for our volunteers is new in Chile, and we hope we can show this project to other engineers without borders in other countries, so they can replicate it hopefully in other countries too.
Does that answer your question, Tapiwa?
Yes, thank you very much, Santiago, and thank you very much, moderator Sarah.
Okay. We do have 1 minute 30, but I think all the judges have asked their questions, if I'm not mistaken. So on that note, thank you, Santiago, and thank you all of the other teams who have already pitched their proposals. It was very insightful, and we really appreciate your time to take us through everything, given the 24-hour challenges that you've been awake and working on. But for now, we will take a 15-minute break and be back on the same viewing channels to continue the other pitches. So thank you, and see you back in 15 minutes.
allow you.
Welcome back, everyone. Let's continue the pitch round with the remaining teams. Serve Global team, please go ahead and share your slides. You have 5 minutes. Tariku, I think you are on mute.
Your Excellency, Engineer Otaiba, Dr. Tapiwa, and Leila, and our host, Sarah, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I am from Serve Global, and I am going to present to you a project entitled Ways Enhancing Climate Change Adaptation Practices through Youth Volunteering in the Education System. My name is Tariku Nagash, a Senior Project Manager and a Volunteer Management Expert. And my team, Ayud Riba, who was once a volunteer and now a volunteer manager in our organization, Abu Bakr Rahamato, a student and a volunteer. Serve Global is one of volunteer involving organization in Ethiopia. For the last 3 years, we have demonstrated to engage more than 2,000 users in the following basic social causes in Ethiopia, that is employment, education, and child protection. We are a proud member of IAVE, Forum for Global Standard for Volunteerism for Development, and AU-VLP, which is Africa Union Volunteer Linkage Platform. In this one-year project, which is going to cost us about 25,000 USD, we designed it to address climate adaptation practices in drought-affected area. As you know, Ethiopia is one of a severely affected country due to drought. Every year, millions suffer from drought. And another cause for this project is addressing a volunteer management system in higher education institutions in Ethiopia. At last, we are going to address the issue of skill gain and unemployment opportunity among graduates. How we are going to attain this? Even though Ethiopia has more than 53 public universities, none of them has a structured volunteer management system, so that we are going to introduce a volunteer management system guideline to implement these volunteer practices. And we are going to enhance the skill of about 1,200 students, 40 lecturers, and 25 experts from key partner organizations, which I'm going to mention later. And in the innovation side, we are going to develop a web application where experts from climate working experts, like from Ministry of Education and Agriculture, can report where there is a severe drought and susceptible area in Ethiopia, so that they will communicate with universities and volunteers to design their volunteering management system. And we are also going to organize a model volunteering practice with 30 students, where they are going to deploy for 50 to 20 days in a drought area, so that they will gain a lot of skills, which I'm going to mention later. Our beneficiaries of these projects are youth volunteers from agriculture and environmental sciences, higher education institutions. We have selected 2, which is Haramaya University, which has 60 years of service in agriculture and environmental science. Another, Alagi Agriculture, which has 26 years of service. Totally, these two institutions produce about 10,000 students every year with nil opportunities for volunteering. Another beneficiary is community affected by recurring drought. As you know, Ethiopia is highly affected by droughts. Mostly the peripheral areas are highly affected. And other stakeholders are also benefit from this project. Our key partners are Ministry of Education, higher educational institutions in general, Ministry of Agriculture, volunteers, and other VIO like VSO, USO, and others. Our implementation plan, we first sensitize this project among our stakeholders, conduct a quick assessment survey, map partner organization, and recruit volunteers. Then we're going to jump to the development phase where we are going to develop a volunteer management guidelines that will be adopted by universities and Ministry of Education, and develop a web application, capacity building, provide skill enhancement, and conduct or organize a model volunteering service and learning phase. And we are going to scale up and promote this learning among other higher institutions in Ethiopia. The impact, we will impact on the enhanced volunteer management system in the education system, enhance the skill of the youth. They will get project management skill, problem identification, teamwork, understanding of the real situation, and communication and other skills. And the last is sustainable climate adaptation practices among drought-affected areas. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that pitch. It was very inspiring. Judges, please go ahead with your questions. Judges, can we start with Tapiwa? If you could start,
Yes.
perhaps. Yes.
Yes, it's fine. It's all right. Tariku, thank you so much for this very inspiring, as Sarah said, project. Mixing young people in the middle of climate change emergencies. I like that. But I mean, I'm very familiar with the country Ethiopia, but I want you to let me know what will inspire the volunteers in terms of retention to continue committed to this project. That's one. And what do you think will be the success factors for this project? This is important for me because I've seen projects where volunteers are there for a few months and then they get disinterested, then they pull out. So how will you inspire them to remain engaged, remain committed, to remain pushing on? Thank you for now, and I come back.
Thank you, Dr. Tapiwa, for your inspiring question. The first and most inspirational element of this project is going to be, I can tell you, there is none opportunity for these graduates who graduate from agriculture and environmental science to go back and serve their community. So they will be inspired. One, they will serve their community because, as you see, or as you know, Ethiopia has been affected by droughts recurrently. The second is that they will get a certification of service. The third is that this certification will support or help them to get an employment opportunity while they go and search for, job opportunity, as well as they will be open for networking like with Serve Global and other CSOs in this, when they are involved in this project. So they will be inspired highly. And another question you asked, Dr. Tapiwa, Minister of Education, since I am working with them, Minister of Agriculture, they will be highly interested with this project because they don't know how to leverage the skills and the interest of their students so far. So they will be happy and joy because I have a close working with this all organizations. So we do not push them to adapt such structured volunteer management system. Thank you, Dr. Tapia, once again.
Thank you, Tariku. Lela and Your Excellency Athaiba, do you have any questions to follow up?
In terms of sustainability, how the program will work?
Thank you, Your Excellency Engineer. Sorry for the name. So the sustainability is very important and key issue in this project. And while we work as policymakers and the Minister of Education, we insist, advocate, and promote all, I can say, all 53 public universities should adapt this volunteer management system and use it accordingly on their specializations. Particularly, there are also other universities who are working on this specialty, that is agriculture and environmental sciences. So they will love it, and we will insist, positively insist, and advocate all universities, selected universities will adopt this volunteer management guideline, and we will ensure the sustainability of the project. Another is we are proposed a web application technology to be developed where individuals and experts in the climate change or a climate action use to report where there is severe drought, where is a natural disasters. This is my answer, Your Excellency and Engineer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you for your presentation. My question would be around like the sustainability of the program and creating a pipeline. It's very clear you mentioned, your plans to address climate, your plans to address youth volunteering and enhancing that experience, and then also looking at upskilling. How are you planning to kind of bring it all together in terms of building this community around sustainability?
Very important question, Leila. Thank you for this question. This is a very grand project for us. And, I can say that a very new by its nature. Since I have been working on volunteerism for the last 3 years, both in local organization and international organizations global, I can see there is a gap in Ethiopia to apply a very structured volunteer management. This is due to inability of integration among stakeholders. So as I mentioned on our implementation phase, our project basically and foremost starts with sensitizing among key partners, basically Minister of Education and the Minister of Agriculture. If that is done, you see, the university is there, whether we have a project or not. The students are there, the program is there. And unfortunately, the drought is also there. So it is very simple to bring these things together while we work among the stakeholders, Leila. So we will give a very high level of emphasis to lobby and promote the stakeholders. Thank you very much.
Judges, any other further questions? Tapiwa, please.
Yes, thank you. I would like to follow up on the questions by both Her Excellency and also by Lena. I think it's very important. When I was reading this project, it looks like it's already starting with a national scope, very big, involving 53 universities, involving the key ministries. Yet for me, I'm looking at a startup that can be scaled up based on the success of implementation. The danger being we can start very big and collapse, and all the efforts have gone to nothing. So I'd like to put it to Tariku, Tariku, why have you decided to start with it looks like a national scale level of a project, yet it's new, there's not the scope, the hypotheses have not been tested, but you're starting at a bigger scale. Why didn't you start small and build on that?
Very important question, Dr. Tapiwa. By the way, I am one of your, what can I say, benefited from your all effort in both AUVLP and UNDP with Dr. Mesh and Daniel. Look, doctor, we are not going to implement this project across the nation, only among 2 institutions, that is Haramaya Agricultural University, who has 60 years of experience, and Alage Agriculture TVT College. The rest will be our effort to influence those ministries to adopt it. We cannot manage, even this is not as simple, but we choose these two universities because of their specialities, because of their closeness to more drought-affected areas. So our project is focused only on two institutions, very few and selected key partners. I know I studied, as a project management is very serious issue. No, we don't think the national one, but we have to push on our scale-up phase. We will organize workshops, arrange TV streams, all the things, so that the rest public universities will adopt it according to their specialties. Thank you, Dr. Tapioa, for that question.
We have 1 minute, 30 seconds if any of the judges have any further questions. All right. Thank you, Tariku, for that very interesting pitch. Well done. And now it's time to start our last pitch with our very last team. Yes, Empowerment Services. You can start your pitch by sharing your slides. Yes, team, you can start. I think we're having a technical issue. Hello?
Hello everyone, my name is Kulayona from Yes Empowerment Services in Uganda. Here is our project idea. Here is our project idea. Integrating Kiswahili literacy training among the 300 volunteers in ending plastic waste pollution in Changwali refugee camp. Fellow volunteers, do you know what? One volunteer 10 postmen in the labor market. Join Uganda, Yes Empowerment Services in this idea. Alongside me is my colleagues, Baruch Moses and Matty Wilson. What is our need? Our need is that we need to cover up the gap of ineffective communication between the volunteers and refugees while ending plastic pollution in Changwali refugee settlement. Our impact. We need to strengthen the capacity of volunteers to effectively deliver volunteering services in whatever work they are doing in the refugee camp. We strive for a clean and plastic-free environment, promoting environmental resilient measures among the volunteers, and more so, increased employability and income among the volunteers through plastic recycling. Our innovative solution: Kiswahili literacy training to volunteers working in a refugee settlement of Changwali. Recycling of plastic waste into crafts such as bags, baskets, and many other crafts. Find here our implementation plan. Our implementation plan is categorized into 4: building support. Under building support, we aim to bring the community involvement, especially of the key stakeholders, volunteer leaders, exploring quality. Under this, we intend to do the mapping of volunteering services. Whoever volunteer that does a lot of work in the settlement camp. So we shall do making the mapping under that. Bridging the gap. Under bridging the gap, this is the core, where we find most of our activities under bridging the gap, especially training literacy communication skills in Kiswahili, and more so, training recycling of plastic waste to volunteers in a move to end environmental pollution by plastics. Under the phase 4 is monitoring and evaluation. This is major because we shall be impacting our efforts to measure the impact of the project through meetings, through quarterly meetings, and many other strategies using our developed monitoring and evaluation tools. Our performance indicators: increased the number of volunteers trained in literacy training and plastic waste recycling. Increased the number of volunteers who are well equipped with these communication skills using Kiswahili and be able to communicate to the refugees in the Changwali. Number of volunteers earning from the recycling of plastic waste using the crafts they are made from the crafts. More so, environmental conservation using the communication skills learned in Kiswahili and sensitizing the community. Our partnership. We intend to partner with the local government in Changwale refugee camp and the Directorate of Industrial Training, which is an examining body that examines the technical institutions, where our volunteers shall be examined with their crafts made in the refugee camp to acquire accredited certificates. And therefore, we shall work also with the local government, with the local community-based organizations who are volunteer evolving. Our outreach plan, we intend to focus on group discussion of volunteer leaders in the Changwali refugee camp, conducting one-on-one trainings, volunteer recruitment materials, communication channels and messaging, hosting workshops, cleanup drives, and conducting presentations, collaborating with the government, education institutions, and other religious institutions. Technological innovation. Our technology, we intend to use open distance e-learning app, which shall be installed on our computers around the training centers in the refugee settlement. Online resource hub, where resources of training shall be uploaded and accessed to every volunteer. Of course, above all, social media platforms. Friends, we have categorized our budget into 4 sections. Meetings.
Dear Yes Empowerment team, your time is up. Thank you for your presentation. Judges, over to you.
Your Excellency, if you allow, I can get in and later I can start. Thank you, Sarah. Kuula, thank you so much for your presentation. Let me say that when I was going through your project last evening, I lacked clarity, but when you presented, it's a bit better now. To the extent that the question that I have now is it about refugees? Is it about youth employability skills development? Is it about women health and adolescent reproductive health? These issues are on your project brief. And now when you are presenting, it's a bit clear on what you want to do because the expanse, the conceptualization, as you presented the proposal, are so wide, large in terms of scope. Now it's a bit better. So my question now is, what's new in Uganda? What is new about this project? The way we all know about reclamation, what is new about it? Is it that we want to engage volunteers, young people, or refugees? That's one element. And you keep talking about Kiswahili, the language. What is the added value of the language in all this? The web I basically said thank you.
Thank you so much, and I'm happy for the question. What is new in this innovation is that in Uganda, we basically learn Kiswahili, English, and most of the refugees comes from Congo. These refugees neither understand English, nor can they speak it. And likely, most of our volunteers speak English. And these local refugees cannot even speak any of the local language in Uganda. So Changwali refugee camp has most of the refugees coming from Congo who only speaks in Kiswahili. So why are we doing this? Is that to train the volunteers, the 300 volunteers in communication skills using the Kiswahili so that they are able to deliver their sensitization messages using Kiswahili, and we bridge the gap of communicating with these refugees among our volunteers. So we intend to engage these volunteers to make sure they learn Kiswahili, be able to communicate with the refugees, and have access to sensitizing them in plastic pollution management.
Sorry, I have just one clarification. With recycled plastic, what you are doing, or I mean, where it's go?
Okay, thank you so much. What we are talking about the recycling of plastic. Remember, in the refugee settlement in Changwali, there is a very big practice of burning the plastic. So there is always a gas emission for the plastic that is being burned. So therefore, we will make reusable baskets that they can be put into use to the public, to the community, and even more volunteers make income through it. So that's what we are aiming at.
Okay, so it's an aiming.
It's what?
It's aiming, yani, or did you have like a stakeholder engagement? Did you study this idea? Or
yes, we have
not
studied this idea.
with your stakeholders?
Our stakeholders, we have the local government in that refugee settlement. We have the environmentists, opinion leaders. We have religious leaders who are there, and more so the leaders in the camp based on the refugee camps. So these are the stakeholders that we engaged in this.
Okay, thank you.
And how do you, with such a wide range of stakeholders, how do you plan to promote inclusion in what it is you're doing?
How did I plan what?
How do you plan to promote inclusion, making sure everyone's included in your work?
Yes, we are planning, because even we will have inception meetings during the implementation of the project. More so, they will also be involved in the monitoring in the refugee camp, because we need them to own the project. And that's what I presented under building support, that when we start the project, we will have to seek the support of the community leaders, stakeholders, opinion leaders, and the volunteer leaders within the refugee camps, so that we have their support, and we include them in the monitoring, implementation of the project. So they're included in this program.
If there's still 2 seconds, Sarah, quickly, Mr. Kavune. Who are the beneficiaries of this project? It's follow-up to Linus. Who is benefiting? Is it the refugees? Is this the local community? Because Linus' question is very important. I've been involved with this project, probably the refugee settlement in Barara. This is the project, right?
Yeah.
Because the refugee community and then the host community, this is where Linus' point of inclusion is. How are you going to address this in order to ensure one, sustainability and scalability? This is very important.
Thank you so much. The direct beneficiaries of our project are the 300 volunteers who are working directly in the refugee settlement. And therefore, they will be able to extend their services to the refugees themselves. So the refugees are indirect beneficiaries, where they will be receiving information and also accessing it using the language that they do understand.
Thank you.
Judges, we have 3 more minutes left. Would you like to ask any further follow-up questions for the YES team?
What do you think your biggest challenge to implementation might be?
Our biggest challenge may be sometimes the volunteers are not equal in the understanding. Others may be slow in understanding, others may pick very fast. So our biggest challenge is that the rate of understanding may not be the same. But in this, we have put a learner-centered approach, which will include every participant in participating in trainings and whatever. And another challenge that we are anticipating may the occurrence of COVID-19. You understand that any pandemic that may happen, but this we intend to manage it by understanding and working online. That's why we are coming up with our innovation of open distance learning, such that some people we can conduct different trainings online and the volunteers access the materials online.
Thank you. Judges, any final questions before we conclude? All right. Team, thank you so much. That concludes the pitching session for the theme of volunteering for youth education and skills, where each respective team presented their innovative proposals for their assigned challenge. I would like to thank all the participants for sharing their inspiring ideas and our expert judges for their valuable time. But before we close the session, I would like to ask everyone to now turn on your cameras for a group photo and smile. We will do that in 1 second. If everyone can just open their cameras. And 3, 2, 1. Thank you all. Live streaming will now come to an end while the judges enter a private session to determine the winners of this theme. Please rejoin us back at 6:15 UAE time when we will reveal the results of the competition by again visiting the Emirates Foundation YouTube channel and the Ideathon website as shown on the screen. So once again, thank you all for your time and we will see you shortly.
Thank you, Sarah.